His and hers. Book fans versus Netflix. How the show compare. Welcome to Popcorn, the show where the popcorn's hot, the opinions are hotter, and film and TV take center stage. I'm your host, Jace. Today, I'm joined by Vic.
Hi.
So let's talk about it.
Okay.
So after reading the book, how did you find the show?
I think the book is so much better. So it's got a whole different layer, which means the shock twist at the end isn't such a big shock. Like from the start of the book, there is a third person.
Okay, that's quite
There's
different.
a third voice. So you have his story, her story, and a third voice. And you don't know who that third voice belongs to.
That's interesting because in the show, the third person is not there at all. It's just his and hers. And how it raised up is that it seems that they are fighting against each other some way, that he thinks it might be her, she thinks it might be him. And then there's the other detective, I forgot her name. What's her name? Priya. The other detective, Priya, who seems to point the fingers at Detective Harper. So it kind of feels like we don't know who the real killer is, and it kind of plays out that the killer is one of the girls who was part of the crew in the show. But as we go along, and as the twist at the end shows, that might not be who it is. So
I think the book portrays characters in a completely different way.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. So there are massive omissions in the TV show around some of the character traits.
Okay.
And those character traits in the book lead to this uncertainty and this kind of who do you trust type vibe. So one thing, for example, that isn't played out at all in the TV show is that Anna is an alcoholic. She's really, really alcohol dependent. But that gives this uncertainty that at times Anna doesn't even trust her own recollection of events that are unfolding.
It's a shame that they didn't include that. I mean, obviously, it might be hard to include alcoholism on TV, but that's her character, and that gives some of the reasons of her actions. So it's kind of sad that that's not actually involved in the show. So
I think the book has a bigger feeling of suspense right from the start. So your opening scene, your opening kind of couple of paragraphs in the book is the third voice and ends with, I will kill them all. So right from the start of His and Hers as the novel by Alice Freely that it isn't just going to end at Rachel.
That's a good point to pick up, actually, because in the book, there's someone that says, I'm going to kill them all. But in the show, that's not actually touched on until episode 5, I think it is. And the reason why certain things happen to certain people, and there's a killer because of that issue.
Yeah. The other bit you really don't see at all is that Detective Harper is framed from the very, very start. Okay? Or is either framed or guilty. There's a much stronger sense of him as the villain or him being set up. So, for example, you see at the end, Rachel's nails are in the supposed killer's drawer. Whereas in the novel, within the first couple of chapters, that Rachel's nails are hidden in Jack's car. And he finds them really early on.
That's a massive difference in the show because he doesn't actually get framed by anyone except for Priya. Like, she's the only one that specifically points fingers at him. In the whole show, like, you don't see that you only see that actually until the last episode, episode 6, where she starts to pick up pieces and starts thinking that Detective Harper might be the killer. The only other time that's happened, I feel, is when the husband for the TV presenter, when Detective Harper goes to his house and then he starts to point fingers. But I think that's only in episode 5 as well. So that's all the way at the end of the show. So I do wonder, like, how does that really affect the show? Because I think it's 6 episodes. In all 6 episodes, like 4 episodes, that notion of Jack being a killer is not in the story until episode 5 and 6. Like,
No. The character portrayal all the way through is completely different. Okay, so let's take Rachel.
Yeah.
As a starting point, okay? So what we know from Anna straight away is she hates Rachel. She hates Rachel. She says over and over again, Rachel was not a good person. And even the voice, the third person voice in the first bit is, if they knew Rachel how I knew Rachel, the world would not put her on a pedestal. So in the book, Rachel is this big head of charity. She's really popular. She's really kind of well known. And let's face it, also the massive plot difference is that the book is set in the UK and not the States, which is interesting further down where guns become involved, because guns are involved in the novel, but that is more of a shock then of why would a police detective in the UK who isn't gun licensed be carrying a gun? Yeah. So in the book, Priya becomes a potential suspect as well because to the reader because of some of her behaviour, which you don't see at all in the TV show. So that's a starting point. Also, Rachel's husband is not in the book at all. So
with the video recorder guy?
No. The first murder victim.
Okay,
her husband.
Oh, that guy who turns out to be a gimp. Yeah. So in the book, Jack doesn't know he's having
relationships with a married woman. He believes she's divorced.
Okay.
He doesn't know that her partner is still alive until Priya goes to tell the next of kin, and he's like, "Oh, her mum and dad," and he's like, "They're like, no, her husband." And in the book, he's an 80-year-old bedridden man who could never ever have been a suspect.
That's interesting. One thing I wanted to touch on as well was the fact of, as you was telling me before, that his and hers, the way it's written, is written from the perspective of his point of view and her point of view. In the story, in the Netflix version, it's not written like that. It's just a fluid story, and you don't really see situations from his point of view, and you don't see situations from her point of view. It's just a fluid story, which I feel kind of loses from the book a bit, because it would have been a bit more interesting if you did, like the first murder, if you saw his point of view going up to the first murder, and then seeing her point of view leading up to the first murder, and then them coming together to that crime scene, to actually meeting each other for the first time again in such a long time. Because in the TV show, she, after the death of their child, she goes away and he doesn't know where she is.
So this is massively different. Okay, so in the TV show, they are living in the small town, which, by the way, I don't get, because no one makes a big thing about Anna and Jack being married, and yet they've been living in that town their entire lives together. So everybody would know. Okay, so that's where we're at in the Netflix show. The daughter dies, Anna disappears for 12 months from life. Whereas in the book, they are both living in London when their daughter dies. She remains in London, and Jack is the one who flees. So he flees,
so it's a bit of a twist, and
ends up working back in the town that they grew up in.
There's several twists in the book, like from the book to the TV. There's a lot of missing concepts, especially with what you mentioned with the gun, because obviously in the UK it's extremely hard to get a gun. And police officers, unless you are a registered police officer with a firearm, you don't actually carry guns. So that's a strong point to pick up. And then another thing that we mentioned before is the alcoholism, the character journey, and the character personality is missing from that. And then the whole idea of the husband of the recorder. What's the name again?
Well, it depends which name you're going by. But in as we know her as the TV presenter, she's Lexi.
Yeah, Lexi, her husband. It kind of feels like the whole plot line in the TV show where Jack has her phone and then the husband keeps on calling it. That's not in the book, I'm guessing.
So that's not in the book. No. So he does have her phone.
Okay.
So he does have Rachel's phone. That phone is planted in his car.
Okay.
So he finds in his car after the first murder Rachel's finger clippings in his glove box. And then farther in, he finds Rachel's phone down the side of his car. So, and like his boots are missing, and there's lots and lots that shows that he's being framed in the book that is just completely missing from the TV show.
I feel the feel and I completely honestly feel that the TV show has missed a trick where they could have started off with framing the husband because he's such a high level police detective and he could be the one that is in trouble and he's the one who caused the crime. Like, I feel that they missed a trick there because in the story, as you mentioned, that he's the one who's being framed, but in the TV show, he's not being framed. Don't get me wrong though. I really did enjoy the TV show. If I take it away for as it is and not think about the book at all, the TV show, the way that things lead up. So this is a massive spoiler. The killer turns out to be the mother, which I feel that in itself, you only see that in like the last 10 minutes of the show. Like,
you only see it in the last little bit of the book, to be fair.
Oh, okay.
So throughout the book, you would believe the story that the mum has dementia, that she doesn't know what she's doing, that she doesn't understand. The flip of that is there is a little bit very, very early on in the book explaining Anna's history, which I feel like is also a massive part that is completely missed by by the TV show, where Anna's dad, she walks in, she finds her mum in a pool of blood when she's quite young, just before she meets Rachel and the other girls. Her dad is an abusive dad. So she walks in to find her mum having been beaten by her dad to almost death and is told that her dad has disappeared and her dad never returns and he never provides them with any more money. He's like this evil absent father. Come full loop. And that's kind of all you know about the dad at that point. But come full loop to almost the end of the story, the mum admits, but before Anna knows that she's the killer, that actually her dad is buried in their garden.
That's but you don't get that.
That's not there. That's what I mean. There's all this depth and all this backstory to characters that would really, really add to the TV program that's just been completely written out. For me, it leaves the TV show feeling flat and like underdeveloped.
Yeah, I honestly, thinking about it now, if I compare the book to the TV show, I do feel being only 6 episodes from a Netflix show. Normally, a normal Netflix show is normally 8 episodes. Being only 6, I feel like it's a bit rushed. I feel that it's a tad bit rushed. And all of this backstory could develop the characters a lot more and give more reason to their action and flesh them out a bit and give them more character depth.
Yeah.
But it's not, it is a good show.
We also need to, let's just also say another massive gaping hole is the character of Zoe in the TV show. Okay,
Which one's Zoe again?
Zoe is Jack Harper's sister, who we see, right? Okay, so in the TV show, she's kind of a waste of space. She's the drunk, to be fair.
Yeah.
We don't really understand how much she hates Anna. And Anna hates her, which plays out much more in the book.
There's a tiny bit where
she says... but nothing compared.
There's a tiny bit where she says that Anna's not the person that you think she is.
Yeah, so that is in the book.
Yeah.
In a slightly different way. But we also miss the fact that Zoe, in the book, is responsible for stealing local cats and turning them into clothing.
What?
So this is another reason Anna hates her with a passion.
Zori, Detective Harper's sister, steals cats,
locks them in sheds,
locks them in sheds, and turn them into coats.
She either collects the reward money when people put up missing signs, or she kills them and turns them. And at one point, she gives Zoe a hat with fur trim that is her cat's tail. And these are the reasons. So in the book, it isn't her daughter's death that makes Zoe run from her hometown and never return.
Okay.
It is the actions of this group of girls over a sustained period of time, which means as soon as Anna can get out, she gets out and never looks back.
It feels like she's being bullied in the book.
Yeah. And to be fair, her mum is the one that is present with her daughter when she dies. That is true in both things.
Okay, fair enough. So for rating, what do you give the book separately from the TV show?
I think the book is good. I think it has a really great perspective. I would give it kind of a 7 out of 10. It's not up there with our really big hitters in like that type of story, but it's a strong contender.
Okay. For me, look, taking the story of the TV show separate from the book, I feel that once again it is a 7 out of 10. It's a good show.
No.
If you take it from the TV show as it is, I think it is a 7 out of 10, especially with the twist at the end.
You see, my issue is what you've also got to think about is when this has been released alongside other most recent shows. Okay. So you think His and Hers has been released almost in direct competition on Netflix with Runaway by Harlan Coben, which is also a book that's been adapted into a Netflix show.
Okay.
And when you compare how the two have been done differently, it just leaves Netflix versions of His and Hers in the dust.
Fair enough. Okay, so bringing this two together, now knowing how the book is, and now comparing the two, I'm gonna have to give it a lower mark because there's so much character depth missing from the TV show, and it feels a bit rushed. I feel that if they just added a couple more episodes to delve more into the characters, it would have been a bit more solid, a bit more rich, and a bit more closer related to the book. I totally understand that one is in America, one's in the UK, but that can be simplified because obviously the guns and whatnot. So that's something that I can misstep. The thing that I can't look over is how much character depth is missing from the show.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely give it I'm going to have to give it a lower mark. So I'm giving it a 5.5 out of 10. I
think start the Netflix show, go read the book. And let's also just say they don't credit the author.
They don't credit the author?
Not in the same way. So you really, really quickly, I know we're kind of wrapping up, but you've got His and Hers, which it is known that it's an adaptation.
Okay.
But the author is not all over it. Runaway, it's Runaway by Harlan Coben, and his name is all over it. So you've got a lesser known author who isn't given the same prominence, probably because they took her story and ripped it to shreds.
Fair enough. Let me know what you guys think about the show. If you loved it, if you hated it, definitely go out and read the book. I've been Jace. This has been Vic for Popcorn, the show where TV and film take center stage. Thanks, guys.